Right, here we go. It's time for more MyTeam, and so far this has been, without question, guys, probably the best season I've ever had in this game mode, and I'm talking ever since its exception in F1 2020. And you know, I've had some okay seasons, but this one genuinely has had everything. We have 4 rounds remaining, and it's currently a 7-way fight for the Drivers' Championship, and 3 teams up for grabs in the Constructors. If you haven't seen the last episode, go check it out, guys. Link in the top right. Before we jump into spoilers, go watch because, yeah, it's worth it. Even just watch the whole season, man. It's been absolutely legendary and worth it. So, with that said, we're here for another weekend and the 4th from last round of Season 3. This is the Australian Grand Prix, and you can see in the background we have had a failed upgrade on the chassis. So, I wasn't able to repurchase it at the time. A few days later we managed to get a few more points and I went ahead and repurchased a failed upgrade. We do have an aero upgrade on the car along with confirmation of next season's rule changes if we were to continue, which is up in the air right now. But let's talk about the current season. So the last race, we absolutely blitzed the competition in Japan with some insane straight line speed. Hulkenberg only managed P8, so it opened things wide open. It's arguably a 7-way fight all the way down, I'd say, to George Russell, to be honest with you. I think it could swing. It's less than 2 race wins. You know, a win in a fast lap can bring you right back into the mix. And I think it's all to play for. We have Australia, Jeddah, Bahrain and Abu Dhabi to go in this alternate calendar universe. And yeah, this weekend, no rain forecast. Also worth noting, Ferrari have brought a big upgrade package to this weekend's race. This is their last chance to make a push. I think we're going to see a lot of teams stop developing now because of the rule change for next season, so I might see how the trend goes, and to be fair, I might match the AI in terms of what they do to keep things, you know, fair heading into the final few rounds. After practice, we finished in the top 7, so things were looking pretty healthy. We scored a maximum amount of resource points, and we're going to keep adding, you know, improvements to the car in these closing stages. But my god, this is so tense, so unpredictable. And, you know, I say it's a 7-way fight for the drivers and a 3-way fight for the constructors, but recently, Mercedes have got stronger, McLaren are back in the mix, and Alpine also have now recently come back into it. So it's just genuinely a really close field, and the upgrades this weekend have brought the field even closer. You know, teams like Haas are stepping up, Williams with Albon are in the top 10 regularly, and it's all to play for. Anyway, here we are in Q1 in qualifying, and as always we're trying our luck on the medium tyre with the balanced tyre allocation, which I can't seem to change. I'm kind of locked in with that for this season, so it's just the way it goes. Our first lap is an invalidation. I went ahead and pushed on for the first and second sector, just to kind of give myself a couple of deltas to aim for. We invalidate, so I went for a second push afterwards, and we didn't invalidate this time around, but it wasn't the best of laps. I was struggling to switch the medium tyre on, and it felt like my pace actually wasn't that great. Similar to Japan, it seems like I'm struggling quite badly in the corners, but I am pretty strong on the straights, which, you know, in the last round it worked quite well for us. We qualified, you know, P8 I think it was, or P9 or P10. You know, we had a terrible qualifying, but it made us so strong in the race, having such good straight line speed and, you know, the ability to recharge the battery so much. So currently we're P21. It's not looking good, so I had to put the soft tyres on to get out of trouble. So let's go for a lap and let's get the job done here and hopefully move to Q2 and not burn up another set of tyres if possible, because we only have 1 fresh set of softs left until we get into Q3. So here we are, currently already 2 tenths up out of the first couple of corners into turn 3, keeping it nice and tidy through the apex, now through 4. We do just run a whisker wide and invalidate, and we was over half a second up, so it gives you a kind of idea as to what the pace is with the soft tyre and how much more grip it has. So I went ahead and just basically took it very easy for the rest of the lap, and we're now going to go for a second push. I've got enough fuel for it, so no issue. We've got maximum charge on the battery, so here we go. Making our way down to turn 1. We have a car leaving the pits with 1 minute 25 to go. It's Charles Leclerc, one of our title rivals, and he's not really getting out of the way as he gives us a squeeze into the grass. And that was a bit of a distraction as well, as I didn't really commit through turns 1 and 2 like I would have. And I had some grass on my tyres heading down to turn 3. So compared to the last lap, we're actually 2 tenths down, you know, compared to the half a second we was up by when being validated. So not really happy, and a bit of a dirty tactic there deployed by Ferrari in this championship battle, especially with Leclerc down in P20 right now. before I playing some mind games. So I had to push on and respond anyway. Currently half a second up in Sector 2. We now head into the far chicane. Try to hit both curves, especially the second one. You want to try and cut all of it and, get the run through there. We're now 7/10 up along the back straight. And this is where you're going to notice that soft tyre really kick in.
Seconds left in the session.
As we head into the heavy brake zone using all the runoff curb. 9/10 up as we now flick the car right, keep it within track limits. And now the penultimate corner, 4th gear. Just missed the apex, but we get a decent exit out of there. Short shifting to 5th, getting the power down. 1.3 seconds up pretty much as we run up to the line. And this is going to send us into the high 116s. Current fastest lap is a 16.1, which tells you how close the grid is. And I'm going to return the favour here by not exactly moving out the way of Leclerc. However, we got knocked out. I don't believe it. I don't know how. This was a genuine shocker. Everybody found so much lap time on that second run. And admittedly, I didn't give it 110% of my lap. I thought, up by 1.3 at the time. The best lap was a 16.1. I thought 7/10 off, that's fine. I thought we'd get through pretty comfortably, but I was wrong. Everyone improved. And in the heat of the championship battle, we're starting the 4th from last race from P18 and all of our rivals are up the road. You can't even see them on screen right now. Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Perez, they're all out of sight, out of mind. So we're in trouble. Big trouble. We have to turn it around. There might be some grid penalties, but that doesn't change the fact we're going to be way down the order for this race. So we're kind of banking on another Japan race here and engine power helping us out. So guys, qualifying's over. It's a shock exit in Q1 and it's an absolute disaster. But we have work to do in the race. Let's see if we can turn it around yet again.
Hello and welcome from Melbourne, a track modified since we last raced here in Albert Park. And I think with the changes, it's going to be a classic. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. Its combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners make it a tricky track when it comes to overtakes. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Sergio Perez, and Hulkenberg. Fernando Alonso, Albon, Mick Schumacher, and Kevin Magnussen. Norris, they've taken a grid penalty. Joe, Valtteri Bottas, Martinez, Tsunoda, Latifi, Pierre Gasly. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Daniel Ricciardo. Stroll, Vettel, Ocon, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Right, now I'm not going to lie, we are in a bit of trouble here. P14, and the good news, the grid is very compressed, so the pace is actually not terrible. Everyone is just very competitive. With that said, yes, we are in trouble. We're a long way away from the front, so I really don't know what to do here. I was tempted to start on the hard tyre, but we're going to go for the medium. I want to try and remain somewhat competitive in the first stint. I feel like the race pace will be better. Fuel-wise, I'm going to go for 1.5 laps extra fuel. That should be fine. That shouldn't give us any big issues. Tyre pressures are going to be a little bit higher for the race, so we'll go ahead and adjust those now. So yeah, hopefully this works and it's not too high. We need a good race. The pressure's on. We need to deliver. Hopefully we can. Let's get into it and fingers crossed we can get a big result. Crucially though, Hulkenberg is starting from P6, which even if we don't score points, if Hulkenberg finishes P6, that's not terrible. But leave a like and also a prediction down below and let's get into the formation lap. Here we go then. Bottas on the soft tyre as the outlier. Everybody else on the medium. Can't see any hard runners visually, so we'll see how that works out. Got a decent bit of tyre temp here, which should help us out. Race start will be key, so hopefully we can get a decent launch. We're going to line her up aggressively here as I want to make sure we can cut across if necessary. I'm expecting Bottas to shoot off the line. But let's see, this is a big race for the championship. With such few races left, we have to deliver here. We can't afford any slip-ups. Here we go. Lights out and away we go. It's a good start. Norris off to a poor getaway. Bottas gets a flyer on the soft tart into turn 1. No real place for us to go right now. Just going to try and fall in line. Zhou gets a bit loose and we'll get through. Lando shoves him off a little bit there, so we make the move. We're also going to lunge up the inside of Norris here as he's on the same compound. Bit of a moment there as we try to go side by side with the McLaren.
It looks like a virtual safety car is being deployed due to an incident with multiple vehicles being stopped on the track. We need you to drop your pace.
Damn it, I really thought I got ahead of Lando there. Anyway, virtual safety car. One of the Mercs behind us had an issue. Could I pit for hard tyres and go to the end? No, I won't pit. If it was a full safety car, I would pit and go to the end. I'll take that gamble, but it's only a virtual, so we'd probably lose out the advantage anyway. Let's see if anybody pits. Possible lap 1 damage for anybody. Looks like everyone's staying out, so no damages. So end of lap 1.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens.
Oh damn it! I was hoping for slightly better timing there. If that flag had gone green a split second earlier, we could have gone for the move on Lando there. Wasn't sure if the flag would go green or not, so I couldn't really commit. But we've got some too wide here, Schumacher and Bottas, both of them on soft tyres. So again, it's important that we try to get past Lando Norris here. And we're going to stick one on the outside as we head into the fast right. Oh my god, that could have been wing damage. That was so close, we just avoid it. Gotta get the elbows out. We can't afford to be conservative now, we have to go for it. Here we go, we're going to try and get Lando here because it's on the same tyre. Using all the battery on the McLaren. Around the outside we go, and that is an excellent move. Now let's try and latch onto Schumacher. The DRS train should hopefully reform, so no concerns on my end. Very important now to be within DRS range of the faster cars on soft tyres for when DRS gets enabled.
Okay, DRS will be enabled at this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
It's kicking off. The AI are getting their elbows out. Lando's fighting back here. Instead, I'm actually going to put one on Schumacher up the inside. I think Hamilton's possibly got damage, I can't quite tell, but he's battling with Albon. It seems like we've got quite a few soft runners, which are causing a bit of chaos. We're going to get a look on Bottas here. Hamilton locks up. Oh my god, it's all kicking off here, but we're going for it. I think Hamilton's completely locked up and missed a corner, I think. Here we go then, we're going to box Bottas in behind Albon so that he can't commit to the move. Around the outside, yet again, and we're going to get the DRS. Albon having another great race. Bottas off into the gravel. Pretty sure that was okay on my end. Just Bottas getting it wrong. Up to P9 now though. Albon having another fantastic race. Seems like everyone on the softs is pretty quick, so it's important that we try to stick with Albon here. The Ferraris are driving off into the distance, by the way, in the minimap. They're absolutely flying. The upgrade package has made them super strong. Lando Norris into the pit lane. Let's try and stick with Alex Albon here, which will be very important for our race. Looks like we have another multi-car battle up ahead involving Kevin Magnussen, by the looks of it, at the front of this train. Albon dragging us with him as we close up. Looks like a Ferrari 1-2 out front. Hulkenberg up to P3 now. Verstappen up to P4, and now Perez and Alonso getting stuck in versus Magnussen, so this is a battle for P5. And Magnussen there getting a bit out of shape. Contact as everyone wants to make moves here and get involved. Just got to be very wary, very careful of the AI here. We're losing a ton of time to leaders, but we've got to try and play the long game here. Positions are going to be key. And mistakes will happen. Just like that. Just got to watch out and try to keep it in one piece. Schumacher will get the run here, but I'm okay, I'm under no pressure. There we go. Well, Alonso has managed to drag this train back up to Verstappen and bring him into this multi-car fight, which is now for P4. So this race is wide open. Leclerc still up front leading the race, by the way, so that's big for the championship. And now Alonso putting a move on Verstappen into turn 1. Didn't quite achieve it, but it's going to cost everybody time. We just have to be smart here. The good thing I will say, like the last race, we have insane straight on speed. It's not as overpowering as the last one, but it's still very strong, and we're able to recharge battery at an insane rate. So we're going to have plenty of battery to use this race, and we'll be able to recharge it quickly if we do deplete it. So things are looking good for us in this race, and I think I might actually go for the move on Albon here. Oh, never mind. That was a big moment. Again, whenever I try to push, I seem to get in trouble around here. This track is biting quite hard. Gotta go for it. Gotta go for it here though. Got the run through the chicane. Albon moves under braking. That wasn't very nice. But we'll just get it done. I'll turn it on in right at the last second. Hulkenberg pits, which is interesting.
Nico's coming in for his stop now.
So Hulkenberg started on the soft tyres. Ferrari's still out there, so they're on mediums. Might be able to get a move on Checo here actually. Verstappen defending from Magnussen. Alonso making even more progress. And Checo out of shape through turn 1. Could we have a look? It's just constant action here. This could be one of the races of the season so far. Magnussen turns defense into offense as he holds off Checo and goes for the Verstappen yet again. It's all kicking off here. Verstappen has no pace as we almost run into the back of Perez. This is starting to really cost us time now though. We have to start looking for these moves. Okay, this is it. We're going to go for Checo here. We know we've got the straight line speed, so we're going to make it count. Whoa, Checo. That was aggressive. But we're going to get the inside line now. We're going to force it through. And there we go. I think Verstappen's got some slight damage. Yes, he does. You can visibly see he's struggling. That's big for the championship, by the way. That could put Verstappen quite a way backwards this race and possibly send him out of contention. But we're going to go through on both Red Bulls. And we're now P5. Let's get after Magnussen and Alonso. Our pace is decent. Not spectacular, but there's definitely a podium on the cards. I think we're racing Hulkenberg this race long term. If we can clear the traffic and start to set some pace and clean out, I'd like to see what we can do. Let's try and get back within a second of Magnussen here. Happy days. Magnussen hits and gets out of our way. Let's push then. Clean air. Let's try and make it count. Let's get after Alonso. Personal best. Verstappen also made an error on that lap and let Albon and Perez through, so Max is really struggling for pace at this stage. Alonso's pace is absolutely insane. I'm pushing flat out. I've done back-to-back 20.1s and I'm struggling to really make a dent. Checo's just, I'm holding him just outside.
Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Now that is big for the championship. Another contender with issues. Red Bull having a shocker, which also could really hamper them in the Constructors' Championship, by the way, as Ferrari have dropped back quite a bit, although they are on for a 1-2 today, which could potentially salvage them. Either way, I was saying I was keeping Checo just out of DRS range, but Alonso's pace is really strong. Still, this is a good few laps from us. Now we're running at a decent pace. This is a decent stint now. We're starting to recover things quite nicely. We're essentially matching Ferrari as well, pace-wise. Alonso genuinely has race-winning pace. Lando Norris out of the race. Looks like we're not going to get a safety car or a virtual, which I don't entirely mind. Track limit warning, got to be careful with those. Pushing a bit too much. Trying to push the limit. Decent progress this lap, managed to find a bit of time on Alonso.
Okay, you want you to pit this lap, so push now, push.
So Alonso's going to pit this lap, I can tell because he's pushing flat out. He's managed to build a gap, using up all of his battery. Leclerc is in, Sainz stays out, so we'll do opposite of Alonso. We'll stay out for 1 or 2 more laps, depending on how things feel. Tyre wear is pretty high. I'll most likely come in this lap, as Leclerc rejoins ahead of us, which says a lot about the gap Ferrari have and the pace they've had this race so far. Let's try and get the DRS on Leclerc here. There's Carlos Sainz leaving the pit exit. We'll pit at the end of this lap. I tried to get DRS on Leclerc and didn't work out. But we might actually be able to sit behind Sainz for this lap. To be honest, I'm starting to think about the long game now in this race. If we finish, you know, P5, Hulkenberg finishes P3, that's decent damage limitation for the championship. I would have taken out the start of the race, so I'm not going to complain too much. Starting to really struggle on tyres now, so this is the right time to pit. Stayed a bit longer, hoping for maybe a virtual safety car or, you know, a full safety car, but it didn't happen. So we're down, and there we go. Right, hard tyres, and hopefully we can see us out for a P5. That would be ideal with this race. 2.5 decent stop, and there goes Fernando. That's Checo pits as well.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Absolutely no tyre temp. Anyway, let's get to work here. Let's try and get this tyre switched on. So the target is to try and get a P4. Based off the pace before, I'm not too confident it's going to happen, but we'll try and chip away at Alonso and just see if we can close in on the Spaniard. But if I finish P5, I'd be more than happy. I've just clocked on that Hulkenberg's on mediums, so he's two-stopping. So P4's on the table and potentially outscoring Hulkenberg. And on cue, Hulkenberg comes in, presumably for another set of mediums. That'd be my guess. So we'll be ahead of our teammate and the championship leader, but he'll be on fresh mediums, looking to fight back. But he's going to have to get through Magnussen and Hamilton first. As we set a personal best on that lap. Carlos Sainz, new fastest lap, 1:19.1. What are we going to do pace-wise? 19.6, that's our pace right now. We do gain a bit more on Alonso that lap. I don't know if I can keep this pace up every single lap. That's the big thing. I'll try my best. We do start to open up a gap now to Magnussen and Hamilton though. Back-to-back personal best. This was pretty much a perfect lap. 19.3, that was nice. And now the gap has come down. I can smell a podium. I can smell it, and that would be an incredible result if we could achieve that. These tyres are working well. I think the higher pressures are really benefiting these hard tyres compared to the medium. This could be the better race tyre for us. Second warning. Gotta be careful now. Hulkenberg making progress as he gets past Hamilton. Hulkenberg up to P5, battling with Magnussen right now for position. This is going to cost him some time. Crucially, Hulkenberg won't be a threat if we clear Alonso. That's going to really guarantee that we outscore him today, which would be a massive result, all things considered. Starting to really make progress on Fernando now. Found a way to really find more pace, and these tyres are much better than the mediums. I'm happier on these. I can push them harder, they're not overheating, and the higher pressures are now, I'm being repaid for that with this compound. Hulkenberg still not past Magnussen, so that's good news. Hulkenberg fastest lap, 19.1. We're nearly there, we're nearly within Alonso's DRS, just need a little bit more, but I'm out of battery, so once we do get within DRS, I'm probably going to try to recharge for a little bit before we commit to a move. And that should do it. We'll just use a bit of battery through here, close the gap to Alonso. What we'll have left, we'll just use it up. And that should give us DRS. Oh, not quite actually, Alonso just pulling away a little bit at the end of the straight. Okay, no, we do have it, there we go. Right, let's race on. Let's try and get this podium. A little bit marginal on fuel, I'm not going to lie. Things are a little bit tight. So I am going to try to extend this and basically wait for when we commit to this move. I'm going to try and manage the fuel in the meantime. So we're on 2 warnings, limited fuel and low battery. So I've got to try and make this work. We've got a healthy gap over Hulkenberg, so a bit of fuel saving is in order here. Okay, this is the lap. We have to go for the move because the AI will go full power soon, so we have to commit to an overtake. So we're going to get nice and close through this back straight, and we're going to try and get him out the chicane into the heavy brake zone. So let's use the battery here. Let's get nice and close to Fernando, and we should have just enough fuel to manage on the last lap. The Alpine's actually very quick on the straight. There's a moment there, but we nail the chicane. And here we go then, this is for the podium. This could be critical championship points. Around the outside, even plenty of room. I do not want floor damage at this stage of the race.
Only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
And we go through on Fernando quite easily. Definitely, I'm a lot quicker on this tyre compared to the medium. We've got the advantage over him. So now on this last lap, just got to make sure we push and stay ahead of him, but also manage the fuel. Let's bring this home. This would be an insane podium. This would feel like a win, to be honest. Just got to take it easy now because of the warnings that we have. There we go, Charles Leclerc wins. On a personal best right now, just using up all the battery that we have. Up by about 3-4 tenths, approximately. Alonso is no threat. Just got to hold on now for the remaining few corners. But Hulkenberg is going to kick himself over that two-stopper, but we bring home a brilliant podium from P14, and that is a great result.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance. Well done.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their head when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that has allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and stay out of trouble.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Well then, the second stint was a bit of a less entertaining one, but overall the race was an absolute bonkers one. Chaotic action everywhere. That first stint, I think, was one of, if not the most full of action stint I think I've ever seen on this career mode so far and on this game in an offline mode. So very, very enjoyable race. We kept it clean and just managed to race well at the right time. And the race pace certainly was better, but it wasn't spectacular. I think, you know, the result kind of glosses over the fact that we weren't that quick this weekend. I just think we, you know, made the right moves at the right time, went nice and long on the stint, you know, got the pit stop, and then eventually I think the hard tyre was the better tyre. I think in hindsight, if I started on the hards, it may have actually been a better race for us, but I didn't know at the time, and that's where hindsight is 2020. So yeah, either way, as you can see, Ferrari though, with their upgrades this weekend, pick up a huge 1-2, and it was a dominating 1-2. They absolutely destroyed the field by more than 30 seconds, and Leclerc is the victor. Alonso in a phenomenal P4, Alpine looking stronger and stronger. Hulkenberg P5 on the two-stop, the only person to two-stop in this race, which didn't make a lot of sense. Hamilton, Magnussen, Perez, Gasly, Ricciardo round out the point scorers, and further down, as you'll see, Max Verstappen finished a lap down. I don't know exactly how. I think he must have just not fixed his wing, because he only done one stop. It's not like he's done multiple stops. Russell also down in P18 as well, by the way, who of course got tangled up in that lap one incident. And then of course, you know, Norris out as well. It's a big one for the championship. So heading into, I believe, the final, I want to say 3 rounds, Bahrain, Jeddah and Abu Dhabi, we take back the lead. Another swing in the championship. Hulkenberg second, 1 point splits us. Leclerc back in the mix in P3, Checo drops to 4th, and there's a bit of a gap there now, and you could argue it's now a top 3, a 3-car fight for the championship, but I'd never fully rule out Red Bull. Verstappen now is in trouble. That race today is a big problem. That may have just put him out of contention, so you're looking at, I think, definitely, a top 4, maximum 4 drivers going for the title. Although, of course, there are still 75 points up for grabs, so you could throw it down as far as Russell, and on fastest lap count, Carlos Sainz, who did get second place today, but that's not enough to salvage his season. In the Constructors though, this is a big one. An absolutely massive race for us. Red Bull don't score any big points today. Ferrari, even with the 1-2, it goes to show how much they've dropped back in the last few races. We have, I'd argue, one hand on the Constructors' Championship. It could happen this season, guys, and I think it will happen. The question is, who's winning the Drivers' title? 2 races remain, guys. Hopefully you tune into every single one. This has been by far, I think, the best MyTeam season I think I've ever had on any F1 game, period. And I really hope you guys can, feel that and enjoy that whilst watching these videos. But leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and yeah, guys, that is it for today's episode. We're back for more episodes soon. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen, and I'll see you guys in my next video.